Everyone thought the golden retriever had become obsessed with a toddler in a way that wasn't healthy. Everyone was wrong. It started on a Tuesday, and no one thought anything of it. Hazel was 19 months old, sitting on the living room carpet with a board book she couldn't read yet but liked to turn the pages of. Anyway, their golden retriever, a 5-year-old named Sunday, lay 6 feet away, watching her with the focused, unblinking attention he usually reserved for squirrels. Thomas Wren noted it and went back to his laptop. Dogs stare at toddlers. Toddlers are endlessly interesting to dogs. He filed it under normal and moved on. The next morning, Sunday was in the same position, same distance, same unblinking attention. This time Hazel began to cry. Small frustration cry. She wanted the book open to a specific page and couldn't manage it. And Sunday came to his feet immediately and closed the distance between them in 4 long strides. He lowered his face to hers and stayed there, nose working slowly, inhaling near her mouth, her cheeks, the sides of her face. Hazel's crying escalated. Sunday did not move. Thomas pulled him back by the collar. Sunday returned to his watching position and resumed the stare. Thomas's wife, Priya, was a former pharmaceutical researcher, now home full-time with Hazel. She watched Sunday for 2 days and said what she saw. He's reading her. She didn't know what that meant yet. She just knew the dog was gathering information and that his behavior had a quality of purpose she found hard to dismiss. Thomas found it easier to dismiss. He had grown up without animals. He understood dogs as affectionate and loyal, and occasionally strange, and he sorted Sunday's new behavior into the occasional strangeness category, and started researching trainers. On the 4th day, Hazel was particularly fussy at breakfast. She ate almost nothing. Sunday lay under the high chair the entire meal, with his chin resting on the floor and his eyes on the child's face, unmoving, as if he were reading a number on a screen only he could see. When Priya lifted Hazel out of the chair, Sunday rose and followed them room to room for the next 2 hours without resting. Priya told Thomas that night, "Something is wrong with Hazel. I don't know what, but Sunday knows." Thomas booked the trainer for Saturday. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you are in the right place. Subscribe now, because what happened Friday night is what changed everything. Friday night, Hazel went to bed at her usual time. Sunday did not go to his bed. He positioned himself outside her bedroom door and lay facing it, chin down, eyes toward the gap at the bottom. Priya stepped over him twice in the night. He did not move. At 4:47 in the morning, Sunday stood up and began pawing at Hazel's door, not scratching idly, a rhythmic, deliberate impact, the same paw, the same spot, over and over, until the sound pulled Priya out of the deepest part of her sleep, and she was in the hallway before she understood why. She opened the door. Sunday went directly to the crib, both paws on the rail, nose over the side. Hazel was in an odd stillness, breathing, warm, no visible distress, but Priya had spent enough time watching Sunday watch Hazel to trust the difference between the dog being wrong and the dog being right. She picked her daughter up. The limpness was not right. She woke Thomas, called emergency services, gave the address with the flat clarity of someone who has decided to act before understanding. The paramedic who arrived, a man named Darnell Tate, 6 years in emergency medicine, had the glucometer on Hazel's finger in under 90 seconds. 29. A child Hazel's age should read between 70 and 100. 29 is not a number that stays safely at 29. It has a direction, and the direction it was moving in would have reached seizure threshold well before morning. At the hospital, Dr. Amara Osei, pediatric endocrinology, reviewed Hazel's chart and recent dietary history. The reduced eating over the past 4 days, the mornings where she turned away from her usual portions, the breakfast she barely touched, had been quietly depleting her glycogen stores. A mild respiratory virus the week before had already stressed her system. The result was a slow hypoglycemic decline that produced almost no external symptoms until it was dangerously far along. Has your dog ever watched someone in your family with an attention that felt different? Tell us in the comments. These stories matter. Dr. Osei explained that dogs detect isoprene, a compound produced in the breath of a person with falling blood sugar, at concentrations far below what any human sensory system can register. Sunday had been reading Hazel's breath from 6 feet away. When the number changed, he got closer. When it got worse, he stopped leaving the door. When it crossed a threshold only he could measure, he woke the person who could do something about it. Thomas canceled the trainer that morning from the hospital waiting room. He sat with that for a while. He had been 4 days from doing the one thing that would have removed the only alarm in the house that actually worked. Priya asked the doctor how much time they had had. She had been a researcher long enough to understand that numbers meant things. Dr. Osei looked at Hazel's chart and said, "I would not have wanted to find out what 40 more minutes looked like. If these stories matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, especially the ones who ask for nothing." Sunday came home on the same afternoon Hazel did. He walked through the front door, ignored his water bowl, walked past his bed, and went directly to the room where Priya was settling Hazel into her bouncy seat. He lay down on the rug 3 feet away and put his chin on his paws. His eyes did not close. His attention did not waver. Priya sat on the floor beside him and watched her daughter sleep, and for a long time she did not say anything at all. What would you have done if your dog had shown you this kind of attention, and you hadn't listened?